Greetings from the kitchen of the Jago house. This is probably the very first ever emergency snow sermon. That is because currently we've had snowpocalypse come through the DC area, and I thought that was a little bit of an exaggeration at first, but after some very sore muscles and about a few hours worth of shoveling out today, I have to say that this is quite extraordinary. We're still not all the way dug out just yet, and we were working pretty hard at it throughout the day. So as you might have heard, Bethany Lutheran Church, that's my parish here in Alexandria, the church has been canceled for tomorrow. It's the first time I've ever had to do that in my pastoral career, and it hurts. It hurts a lot, so I had to do something. So this is my little something. Decided we'd record it, even though the children are still awake and could potentially distract us just because I'm afraid of the power going out again like it did before. So we're going to do this while we can do this now. And the other advantage, I guess, of being here on YouTube and not in church is I can dress any way that I want to. I didn't have to put on my robes or anything as I come here. Now, don't... Oh, all right. I suppose we can come up here. You know what Daddy is supposed to talk about today?
Yeah.
No, you don't. I haven't told you. We're doing this sermon series in church called the Bible Essentials. So we have a different Bible story every week, and it's one of the major big stories in the Bible. So what we're doing in your book when I was doing my research today, and this is the Genesis chapter 28, and look at this. We have the angels ascending and descending. What does it look like they're on right there?
The
ladder.
And they're going up and down.
And they're going up and down. That's right. That's a dream that someone called Jacob had. All right. Now I need to tell people about the dream. So can I get you off my lap?
Okay.
Okay. Can you go back to coloring? Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. Good girl. All right. So here we go in 28. And the dream of Jacob. And the first part of the dream is that heaven comes to earth. Heaven. Claire, shh, shh, shh. Daddy's talking. All right, so heaven comes to earth first. And it says in verse 12, and he dreamed, and behold, there was a ladder set up on the earth, and the top of it reached to heaven. So first is this ladder, and it says, behold, as Claire had seen in the picture, angels of God were ascending and descending on it. So the angels are going up and down. And I think the first thing I wanted to focus on is the angels coming down from heaven. This isn't the first time, and it's not the last time in the Bible that angels come down to earth. Angels that announce and herald the birth of Christ and his resurrection. And, they're all over the scriptures. Angels coming down to us. And then the next part of that is in verse 13, Genesis 28:13. And behold, the Lord stood above it and said, I am the Lord, the God of Abraham your father, and the God of Isaac. God who is above everything. But he's coming down to earth. And that reminds me very much, you know, wait, kids, Lily, how did God come down to earth? All right. In any event, God comes down to the earth. And he came down at Christmas time, right?
Right.
And what happened at Christmas time? Don't look at the look up there at the little green light. See that little green light?
I don't know.
You do too. What do you and Claire play with over there all the time on the hutch? What do you play with?
Toys.
No, they're not toys. We tell you they're not toys. You want to go grab one of the figures from there? Go to the hutch and bring me back what you play with. Okay, now who is this? Is that one of the wise men?
It's Joseph.
This is Joseph. Oh, okay. Very good. These are one of the figures that we have on our hutch. We still got our manger scene up there, I know. Probably will be Valentine's Day next week before we take it all down. But the kids play with this, of course, because it's Christmas time is a reminder of how God comes to earth, how heaven came to earth, right? Finish my thoughts here, okay?
Okay, you daddy.
Okay. All right. So finally, when God comes down to the earth, he comes down in the person of Jesus, who saves us from our sins. Han, I think it's time for them to go to bed. Go to Mama. Go to Mama.
I'm calling this and stress rainbow.
I had a feeling that was going to happen. In any event, God comes down to earth. Jesus gave hints of his divinity by saying to his disciples things like, "You will see the angels ascending and descending on the Son of Man." I mean, that's a clear reference to Jacob's ladder right there. When God comes down, I think it's also significant that that's the only way to save the human race, is for heaven to come down to earth. It can't be the other way around. We can't go up to heaven. We are the ones trapped in the burning building. We are the ones who are sinful and unclean and unable to save ourselves. So Jesus has to come into that burning building like a fireman and pull us out. It's entirely his power. I knew I'd be distracted, but my goodness, this is just really something. You think once the kids go to bed that you have to get attention, don't you? Look up there. Say hello. Okay. Comes down to us in another way, too. In Holy Communion, the bread, the wine, that's his body, his blood that he gives to us. Heaven comes down to earth. You see a lot of things related to worship. And that's where we're going with all of this, because there is a response that Jacob gives when he wakes up and realizes what has happened here. In verse 21, he makes a promise to God. "So if I will come into my father's house in peace, then the Lord shall be my God. And this stone which I have set up for a pillar shall be God's house." And that's what we call our place of worship, God's house. Now, the thing about it is that could be wherever. It could be in your home right now. Jacob wasn't expecting God to come out there in the middle of the wilderness, but God did. He showed up. And we may not be expecting God to come here in the middle of our kitchen and the chaos that's our daily lives. But guess what? We can bring God into there. We can open up our Bibles and have a few moments with him whenever we want to. We just kind of have to look for those opportunities. And I think that's important. How we respond to heaven coming to earth is that God is our God, and we will worship him. The second part is that Jacob also says he will give a tenth of all that he has. And that's a giving response. Generosity, flowing because what we have freely received, we are supposed to also freely give. Now, I'm sure there's plenty of opportunities for generosity right outside your door right now. Checking up on your neighbors, making sure they're okay throughout this snowstorm, maybe shoveling a snowball off their sidewalk or their stairwell. Bring over some soup to somebody. Different things like that. And of course, remembering and being generous to your poor church that has probably had very low attendance for 3 Sundays during this winter time too. That would also be nice. Little commercial there. All right, so the final offering though where earth goes to heaven is at the very end. And again, not because of anything, we can't enter the courts of heaven just on our own. We can't do that with our prayer and our praise. We have to first be cleansed. Heaven first has to come to earth. But when that happens, and when we have Jesus Christ living inside of us because of the Word and the sacrament in our hearts, then at the very last, our resurrected body and soul go up to him. At the very end, we ascend the stairway to heaven. Okay, well, you've been dying to do it this whole time, some of you, so get out your air guitar. It's time for a little Led Zeppelin as we end this time. Thank you for those of you that tuned in to our emergency snow sermon. God's blessings on your day. Oh, and stay safe and warm today.